Live. Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome to Mary What You See with, that's Mary. And
Keep coughing.
Susan, the psychic, one of our favorite guests, is kind of co-hosting with me because Mary, well, hi, Mary. I'll let you say what you want to say.
Well, I got hit by a roller derby queen.
Which world
She had
was
it
it?
out for you.
Ours or theirs? We'll go get her.
Excuse
Oh,
me.
I shouldn't make you laugh. I'm sorry. Oh my
Yep.
God.
She ran me over, bruised my kidneys. Yep. So I'm in the hospitality industry right now.
Get out of there when you can, okay?
I will as
We'll
fast
send
as
you
I
a rope
can.
and we'll send you a rope and a knife and a cake, okay?
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Well, guys,
Two.
I'm gonna sign off and watch you. Okay.
Okay.
But thanks everybody
All
for
right.
watching.
Love you, Mary.
Love you,
Love you
Mary.
too. Okay. Bye.
Take care of yourself. I'll call
I
you
will.
Tuesday.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. And everyone heard me. Oh my
Great.
gosh.
I hear something.
Yeah.
Yeah, on my next round of my medication, I'll give you something, okay?
Oh, that's Mary's mic is still on. Oh,
Okay. She's getting some medication.
maybe we'd like that medication. No, never mind. So, um,
I can't do hospitals.
no, me either.
They're too much.
So you got me back. Hello.
Hi.
After a long stay away, I apologize for that, but life gets in the way, and you have to do what you have to deal with.
Well, Mary and I both, the last couple of months, have just been one thing after another,
Yeah, everyone's been sick. Everyone's had their emotional roller coasters. It's been tough for the three of us. So it's nice that we have 2/3 of the 3/3 available. So this is good. This is good.
She's watching, so I have to behave.
Yeah, we both have to behave for Mary's sake. But that's going to be really hard.
Well, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
So tonight
You're not
we're
going to even
talk
say it.
about a lot of different things. Should I do this or you should do this?
Well, we're just kind of, Susan has some interesting experiences she has, so she's going to kind of tell some ghost stories. Hey, Mary. And we'll just kind of, is there one that you wanted to start with, or?
Yeah, I'd like to kind of start with the the orbs in this household that I visit quite frequently. The house is close near my house, and it's quite haunted. My time period for picking up a lot of the people that I pick up along the way is about the 1800s, and this house is sitting on the land of an old inn. I think it's like a stagecoach inn, and they have, oddly enough, they have a bar downstairs in their house, a big old barn, bar, BAR, and I think it's very the bar part of it, the actual physical wooden bar, mimics the one that was in the inn at that time period. Very interesting. I've been in the house many times. They have a portal that I closed, and then one of the entities, Faye, she's been the keeper of the inn for quite some time, and she reopened it, which I told her, take all your friends that you want to have with you, leave them here, but the rest of them got to go because there was too many people in and out. They were bothering the dogs. They have animals, and they were bothering the dogs and bothering them at night with doors opening and closing and making brownies and all kinds of stuff in the kitchen. So it was quite an active household. So I closed the portal and a lot of that stuff stopped.
Does that ever come back, or do you know how that?
Actually, it came back because Faye had the ability to reopen it. She's the woman that I believe is the innkeeper of the house.
Oh.
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but she's been the main contact for this house for many years. Faye is, she has been watching the owner's the owner's Kathy's, my friend Kathy's
Mhm.
sister's husband. She's been watching him for sleep apnea, and apparently she was a nurse at one time in her life. Don't know when, but she was a nurse, and she's watching him in his sleep. So she's been protecting him for years. When nobody knew in the whole family, not even me, until this one time I said, "You're watching him because he has sleep apnea," and she went, "Yes." And his wife Trisha and my friend Kathy didn't know that, but I found that out, so that we were able to watch him more closely. And he does have sleep sleep apnea, and he stops breathing. So which
Is that why people wear that mask thing?
Yeah. So that was very interesting. But we have a couple of shots of orbs of this household, and
I'm
show
going to
that.
run this for like 10 seconds, and then we can go on just for technical
Yeah, whatever we can get.
This show is for entertainment purposes only. We have all the information available to the general public and whatever Spirit wants to add. Mary is a psychic medium that is merely the messenger, so if you don't like the message, take it up with Spirit.
There we go. Not that way. You want me to play that video with the orbs then?
Yeah, play that. These are orbs. Orbs could be angels or fairies from another world visiting the house. Lower right-hand corner, see the one moving around over there? That's pretty impressive there. And in a minute, we should have another one join. All the little lights in the background are candles, and the light below all the little lights is, now there's two. There were two down on the low side.
The one left the street too. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then, is this image 0?
This is the video here. I have the image 0. Do you want me to put the image up?
Yeah, play the other image, because I don't. Yeah, this is the same room. See the light in the back up near the candles, like on the curtains. There is a light back there, a completely round circle. It's not moving. It's not moving. I believe, I don't know, because I've never seen one of these. I've seen it with my own eyes, but not in a picture. I don't think that's an orb, because orbs move around and they set off motion signals in people's houses. But in this particular house, this could be the portal that Faye opened up and let other people, other entities, other spirits into their house. So I think we've only got 3 people chatting today, but I think that's a portal. And if anybody has any knowledge of portals, you can set me straight. I won't be offended. But I think that's a portal that is being used to usher people in and out of this house. I might have to go back and close this portal. I've closed the other portal in her house, and I think Faye reopened it, but she put it over here. So there were some people that she allowed in the house that were scaring the dog. They had a dog, and Ruby was frightened of the entities, and they had a stinky man that came in, and that stinky man, I think, was a bad spirit. So I went over there and got rid of that bad spirit, because he was smelling up the place. He really did smell bad. It was really
stinking up the joint.
Yeah, he was. So let's go to the Biltmore, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Is this the Biltmore?
This is the Biltmore. It's in Asheville, North Carolina. It was a house. I forget who the house was owned by, but it was owned by some people that moved to this country and built it. It took them like 25 years to build this house. I think there's over 100 rooms in this house. They had the original. There's a bowling alley in this house, an Olympic-sized swimming pool in this house, and atrium. The 4 arched windows on the right-hand side of the door, which is the main entrance. There is an atrium, and it's stunning in there. We're going to show the apparitions. The orbs pictures I couldn't find for tonight, but I did find some apparitions that I saw in this house when I was in there a few years ago. So I gave them to Jason, and we're going to show you in a minute. on the ceiling of this house. This is their library. They didn't have television. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have any of this stuff. They did a lot of reading, and they were out in the boonies. So this is their library. If you look around, there's no way for this light to be there. And if you look really closely, this is an apparition because you can see through the person or thing, and you can see the background that exists in our world, but you can see through them. That's an apparition.
Here, I blew it up a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. There seems to be either something on her dress, or she might have something around her neck. And I see like a flowing dress, and then some either hair or shawl or something. And then there's something to the left of her that could be a child or a dog. It really doesn't.
Is she looking that way, like towards the? If you're looking,
yeah, she's kind of looking like this. Yeah, she's kind of tilted her head to a different angle. You can almost see her mouth and her eyes too.
Yep.
It's if you look up towards the 12 o'clock position below the clouds and the painting behind her, you'll see two eyes. So very interesting, right? And this is in a public place, and there's no light source to this. There's light source across from below here, but there's no light source up there to do that. So it's an apparition. You have a third one, right? Oh yeah, this is interesting. It's during the day, right? And this is all candles around statues and stuff. They were not lit. None of the candles were lit. Yet I see like a double image of candles, like a set of 3, and there aren't any set of 3 candles anywhere. But if you look on there's a line, go above the line and straight up. At the feet of the statue, you can see like one ring, but not a clear ring. But then you have a candle with 3, a candelabra with 3 candles on it, and then another candelabra with 3 candles on it. Very interesting. And none of the candles were lit because this room is not used anymore. It was all roped off. It was only available for tours. So it was pretty impressive place.
It's probably scaring people. Let me see. And didn't you say there's a kind of an image, the oval, like the face in the middle?
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. If you go down, go follow below the dark line. Looks like that's the shelf or the edge of the glass. And if you go just above the 12 o'clock position, there's an oval at the statue's feet. And there looks like there's a face with like a woman's face. You can see the eyes, hair, and there seems to be something in her hair, like maybe a hood or a bonnet. And you can see her face. There, I can see an ear, I can see a nose, and I can see this hair covering of some sort. I think it's a bonnet. Do you think it's a bonnet, Jason?
A babushka?
Babushka. It could be a babushka. But I thought that was pretty interesting because nobody lives there now. It's currently uninhabited except for the people that live there in the night. So,
unless you like things flying around in your house.
That's right. Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
We have Kathy here.
What do we got?
Kathy is here.
Oh, Kathy, did she join us?
Do you want me to add her? Okay.
I see 4 people. I don't see anybody communicating. Chat with everyone in the studio.
Oh, let me see. Unmute. Oh. Sorry, I don't know what.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Maybe.
Well, let me see. Okay, let's see.
Maybe I should be in comments. Maybe. Oh, there are the comments. Mary the Medium. Hi, Ashley. Ashley, thank you, Ashley. Joyce. Iliara, what a pretty name. Evie, Joyce, and Joyce, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I didn't have it in the comments section. I'm sorry.
Oh no, Mary's been in there, so
yeah. So okay, so is the first house home for open tours? No, the first this is the Biltmore down in Asheville, North Carolina that you're looking at now. But the first home is just a private home. I do a lot of medium work and work at spirits there. I've been doing this for I guess 30 years there, closing, opening portals, listening and talking to the apparitions. We have Faye and Zach and oh my goodness, Faye and Zach and there's a little boy. I forget now. I didn't write it down, Kathy. I apologize. Faye is the main character. Zach and a couple other people that I've forgotten their names of right at the moment, but they're there on a pretty regular basis. One of the little boys that was there in the house limps badly. So I asked him why he limps, and he said he was run over by a cart and a horse cart. So he was hit by a horse cart being pulled, and he was injured. So, and he's still limping. And I always see him in pajamas, so I don't think he's well. But that's very interesting, really interesting house. And no, it's not open for visits.
Now, was he did he used to live there?
It's not clear to me whether he lived there or not. He might have, because he's in his pajamas. Okay. Or he might have been a visitor because it was an inn at one time.
Yeah.
So it could have been. These people all could have been visitors, but Faye is pretty much Faye, Zach, and the other two are pretty standard visitors to the house still to this day. We leave them there because they usually don't bother the family.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary agrees to something. I'm not sure what, but I wasn't sure. I came in late on that one. But so that's the candle. Like, these things are illuminated, but this one was not. It's in front of books. I don't know. You don't want to do that in a house. But the most important part of this is the apparition above on the ceiling. There's a lot of activity in that old house. It's been built in the 1700s. There's Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy's got on somehow or another. How does Kathy?
She's got on. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, I just switched from my phone to my computer.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
This is Kathy. This is her sister's house that I showed you. It's not. They want to know if we have open for tours. I said no. No. We don't do that. So anyway, but I was talking about the portal. I'm not sure if that's a portal or just an entity, but the fact that it doesn't move makes me think it's a portal. But I don't have any proof of that. So I've asked for help. So if anybody sees the show and knows what it is, I don't think it's an orb. I think it may be a portal because it doesn't move. All orbs,
This one?
the same. Orbs move around. That portal way in the back, beyond the candles, is that. And
the big circle.
the big circle on the curtains in the back, way in the back. Like if you divide the screen in half.
Yeah, the line of candles, and then it's a perfect circle. Yep.
It's a perfect circle. So
but it does move around.
It does. Okay.
The big one?
Yeah, the big one moves.
Oh, not in this one, it doesn't, but it moved around before, and I wasn't sure. That's what makes me think it's an orb, and I don't know why it's so big, but
it's also flat. It's not dimensional like a normal orb.
Yeah. Watch the orb again, surface in the lower right-hand corner. It comes and goes, and it's not translucent. The one in the background is pretty translucent. Like
there's our little one coming up.
Yeah.
Which looks like a double.
Oh, there
it goes. Yeah, there it goes.
Right at the beginning of this one, you see the big one come up and float around and then stop. So if you back this one up, you might be able to.
For some reason, that didn't happen.
Was there another one?
I think there's two orbs down the bottom there.
No, there was another film. That's what I think he's asking about.
Oh, there is another one. I just uploaded a couple because I didn't have a whole lot of time. So I just uploaded this one because I found the orb in the background. There was another shot. We'll just show it another time. But
yeah, this is really good though.
yeah, this is really good. And it shows that portal. See, that moved that time. Did you see that?
Mhm.
Really quick.
And it just shifts back and forth. But right at the beginning of the video, it flies up, moves back and forth, and then centers in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is cool. It is cool. Mary's saying that's cool. So Kathy is a clairvoyance.
Claircognizant.
Claircognizant. And Lisa, her sister, is an empath, and I'm a medium psychic remote viewer. But I also, can we talk about, I want to talk about the St. Albans Sanatorium. So Kathy was there with me, with her sister, Lisa, and the three of us went to an asylum. Not your average people. That's us.
No.
We're not very average.
A little crazy.
It was very creepy, and the paranormal people that you see on TV were there, and they've been in the house for many weeks, I guess, and they had some bad entities that attacked them and scratched their backs and necks. They had to call in an exorcist to get them out, and because they don't want the general public to come in and get attacked by something that would terrify them, and they probably shut them down. They didn't want to do that, so they knew an exorcist, which I find very fascinating, and they called him to the St. Albans Sanitarium, and they went in there and removed the bad entities, supposedly, and moved some people around that they thought might be dangerous, I guess. So when we went in there, the first 2 floors or so that we saw, there wasn't too much activity. And I was like, if this is the way it's going to be because they scared everybody away, I'm not going to be too happy. And they said, we took everybody off this floor. And I said, well, what's this room over here? And they said, that's the outside garden area. I said, can I open the door? And they said, sure. Open the door. And that's where everybody was. Everybody was out on the upstairs deck that was screened in and closed.
Screened in, yeah.
Area. Remember
They
that?
went out for some air.
Yeah. Where they smoked, and all that kind of stuff. Hung out. That's where they were. It was so crowded that I would felt about 10 or 15 people out there, maybe more, because it was just crowded. I was like, whoa, look at all the people out here. Of course, I could sense them and feel them. And they were like, who's she? She saw us. What? And they kind of like moved away from me because like I could see them without, I could feel them. I'm not see them physically.
I feel you.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. So then we went up a couple of floors and we got some really cold spots, and it was very interesting. And I felt really chilly in some areas. It was drastically cold in one area, and I didn't feel comfortable in there. I was like, no, let's get out of here. Because usually cold means bad entity, bad people there, bad spirit, or multiple spirits, since we were in there in a sanitarium. So I wanted to get out of there, and they took us up to the attic. Remember the attic, Kathy?
Yeah, and we remember we found that lady crying in that one room.
Yeah, in the kitchen. That wasn't that in the basement though?
No, that was up on the 2nd floor.
Okay, so we went into the kitchen, and I smelled smoke, like someone was smoking down there, right? And I was like,
"Are you talking about the boiler room or the kitchen?"
Oh, I'm talking about the boiler room.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the boiler room. So anyway, we went down to the boiler room. That is in the basement. And I said, who's smoking in here? You're not supposed to smoke in here. It's an old building, blah, blah, blah. They're like, no one's smoking in here. And somebody from the group, from the paranormal group said, oh, there was a cook. He used to come down here to smoke all the time. And I said, well, he's still here and he's still smoking because I can smell the smoke, cigarette smoke.
They said they used to leave cigarettes out for him.
Yeah, they used to leave cigarettes out for them, and then they were on the floor, or when he was done, he would snuff them out, and they found.
Yeah, they put him next to an EMF meter to get him to come over to the EMF meter.
Yeah. So that was really
Satan fled us out.
And what?
Satan fled us.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a young girl who was, or teenager who was killed, body found nearby the sanatorium. And that's who we encountered in there, who was really upset. And she was asking for help to leave there because she said every night he kills her.
Yeah. So Kathy and I said a little prayer asking her to leave.
But she couldn't. And then we asked the lady if she could bring somebody in to help her.
Yeah.
Move along.
We asked her, she said she was, I guess, too afraid to go, or she didn't see the light. I'm not sure. But we asked the lady to send somebody back there. The priest that they had gotten to do the exorcism, they were bringing her back to make her go away.
That's the room we tried divining rods for the first time ever.
Yeah, that was really interesting. But
and I was talking to her, and when she said she was asking for help, I said, well, I don't know who I can ask. And the divining rods just went like this and pointed to the lady who worked there, who had just walked up to the door.
I forgot about that one. That's right.
Yeah, and pointed right at her. And I said, she can help you. So I asked her if she could help her.
Was she like in a temporal loop? Like she was just repeating?
Yeah,
she
just every night, and she was terrified all the time.
Yeah.
So we think maybe she might have been killed in that room.
Yeah.
And taken out of there.
Yeah. In the boiler room, not in the kitchen, because that would leave.
Right, in the boiler room.
So she was killed in the boiler. I'm 100% certain.
With the candlestick. Yeah.
It was kind of that kind of event there because there was so much going on with so many people.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was very interesting, the whole thing. So then we decided to go upstairs to the kitchen. That was really interesting too. But I want to move on to the attic. The attic was extremely interesting. It was the most dangerous people up there, correct, Kathy?
Yes.
The most dangerous people. And Kathy, me, and her sister could feel people moving around as we were in there. I could feel them moving past us. And I back up out of the way because I thought they needed to get by. They just went straight through. But it was very interesting. And then I became scared because things were like bumping into me, but that didn't make me feel very comfortable at all. So I was kind of like going out of different rooms and going into where I felt a safe spot for me, Kathy, and her sister.
Well, and then Lisa let that crazy guy in the back, that one room, enter her body.
Yeah, she's an
My sister did, and she didn't even look like her.
Yeah, her
face didn't even look like my sister anymore when he was in there. It
her
was weird.
eyes changed. Her eyes changed. I looked at her and I'm like, that's not Lisa's eyes. That's this guy's. And I'm like, get out. Get out. Meaning not to Lisa, but to the person that had entered her. And she didn't look right.
She had this weird, freaky smile when he was in there. And, it was awful.
Totally weird. It was very scary for me. And I think either Kathy touched her or I touched her. I don't know who touched her, but I think we both touched her. I don't know.
Oh, I shook her. I grabbed her arms and shook her and told her, don't ever let him do that again.
Don't let him enter you again. Yeah. Come back, you. And when that happened, she did. She changed back to her normal face and her normal eyes. It was very scary, very scary. So we went into this room, and the paranormal team was talking to us all, and they said they played a lot of music up here to calm them down. And I instantly heard a record playing, and I said, did someone turn on some music? And they said, no. And I said, well, I hear music. And I'm kind of funny. So I went, let's dance, like that. And sure enough, as soon as I said that, something stood. You know how you teach a child to dance? You let them stand on your feet and you move your feet and they learn how to do the steps of dancing. Well, that's what happened to me. Something stood on both of my feet, and I tried to move my feet, and it was like I was lifting up 40 pounds. I was like trying to move my feet, and I said, I can't move my feet. And they said, why can't you move your feet? And I said, I think someone's standing on them wanting to dance. And they were like, what? And they came over with their stuff. And I was like, I said, this is scaring me. He's got to leave. So I laid down. I said, it's time to, I think I heard the music stop. It's time to go. And he got off. And I was lucky. I got out of it.
I thought it was a little girl. That's what the energy I got.
I thought it was a guy, the engineer guy, but I don't know. But it was very interesting, and that's what you do to train children. And this child that was up there was supposedly very violent, right? This is the highest floor.
Yeah, that's why she was somebody who they were very good about not telling the real stories of the people who ever lived there.
Right. Yeah.
The patients there, they were not allowed to do that. So we could never confirm things that we got from them because they just weren't allowed to tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really pretty interesting.
But they never had anybody who actually got that close to being right about anybody either.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a very interesting experience. And then when Kathy, her sister, and I left, we went outside and did a grounding. And a grounding is where we went in with Bibles in our pockets because I totally believe in the Holy Spirit. I got my beads on tonight. But we did a grounding where we each said a prayer and kind of shook and stamped our feet to make sure that we didn't bring anybody with us, because we don't want to bring anybody home, because we know that
not from a insane asylum.
Yeah, right, exactly. And Mary brings home artists, right?
Well,
Mary brings home artists and dogs and stuff and doesn't return them. That's another story. But anyway, so we went there, and then I want to talk about something else that's happened to me in the past. I lived in Salem, Massachusetts for 4 years when I went to Salem, Massachusetts University School for my education for my bachelor's degree. And I lived in this house. It was the only house that survived the Great Salem Fire in Roslyn, on Roslyn Street in Salem, Massachusetts. And one time I was coming in from class and I was kind of huffing and puffing, and I had a time shift happen. A time shift is when I walked into the room, everything in the room, everything as I knew the room to look like, changed to the period of that time period, like the early 1800s. There was a guy smoking a pipe.
Was it color?
Huh?
Was it in color?
It was in color.
Yeah.
It was vivid in color. The guy was sitting there smoking a pipe, reading a newspaper, and I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" And he goes, "Who the hell are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in my house in Salem, Massachusetts." He goes, "I'm in my house in Salem, Massachusetts." And I'm like, "But what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here." And he goes, "Well, I could say the same thing about you, Toots." And I was like, "Hey, that's not nice." And I said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Who are you?" And he wouldn't give me his name. And just like that, the scene changed. It was very interesting. So then time travel later, much later, and I move into a new house in Virginia here, and brand new house, never been lived in. We bought the house new, and when you could afford a new house, and we walked in, I was moving the furniture in and all this kind of stuff, and I had another time shift. I walked into my new dining room that had no furniture in it, no pictures on the wall, nothing, and it was like a general store in there, with the barrels with flour and sugar in there and stuff, with cereal boxes on the walls, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, "Okay, you're really just overstressed. You're really going crazy here, Susan." And I went, "Hello," and I heard a kid crying. So I was like, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And I said, "Where are you?" She came out from underneath the table that wasn't there. She came around the little box table that she was sitting there. And I said, "What are you doing here?" I said, Where's your mama? She goes, "She's shopping and I'm lost." And I said, "How long has she been gone?" She goes, "A long time." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." I said, "Hey, who are you?" And she told me her name. And I said, "Do you think your mommy's going to come back?" And she goes, "No, I don't think my mommy's going to come back." So I said, "Can I adopt you?" And because she was crying, hysterically crying. She was a mess. So I put my arm around this, she wasn't an apparition. She wasn't a solid. She wasn't an orb, but I could feel her presence. So I put my arm around her and I adopted her. And I said, "You can stay here and I'll take care of you." And she said, "Okay." So she lived in my house for many years. This is a true story. Since 1649. Thank you very much, Joyce. That's true.
Wow.
Anyway, The not my house, but the other house in Salem, correct, Joyce? Yeah. Anyway, so the time shift happened, but she was a little thief because I'm a bad sewer, so I used to put buttons on my dresser in my bedroom that I was going to sew on shirts and dresses and stuff like that, and I put them in a pile. So they're clearly visible, like these 2 pens or something on your desk where you're sitting is in front of you. They're clearly visible that if you were going to dust there, you'd have to pick them up to move them. So I had all these, I had about 6 or 7 buttons because I hate to sew. I'm a terrible sewer. So I hate to sew. I had 6 or 7 buttons there. And I dusted, you know, and I didn't miss the buttons. But then I was like, wait a minute, the buttons are gone.
Do you ever see a button just kind of floating across?
No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. But I said, okay, did you steal my buttons? And I said, I want them back. And I said, next time I come back in this room, I better have those buttons. And I said, there are 6 of them. So I want 6 buttons back. No response. I'm like, oh, she's going to take my buttons and I won't be able to sew the stuff on the buttons now. I mean, the shirts, buttons on the shirts. So sure enough, the next time I walked in the room, all 6 buttons were on my dresser all over again. And this went on and on and on for years. We lived in the house forever. Then we moved, came into this house, and I in the same on the same dresser, storing buttons and other things. She stole the buttons and a couple of pens I had up there. Disappeared. Where I was dusting, they would have been there, and I would have knocked them on the floor. I dusted in there and walked out of the room and went, "Wait a minute, she's back!" And sure enough, she had stolen the 2 pens and the 4 or 5 buttons I had up there. So I said, okay, you're at it again and you found me. I said, you need to put those things back so I can finish the sewing. And she did. She brought it back, and I wish she could sew, but she didn't sew. She just brought back the buttons.
Sew these on for me.
I was trying to get some help, working full time, everything. But anyway, it's really was very interesting. So she's still around, and she does move things from time to time. Like I'll put down my glasses and they're not in the same place. They're someplace else. And I'll say, bring them back. And she'll bring them back, and they'll be in the place that I left them, not where she's taken them to, or put them back. They're always in the same place that I left them after I bring them back. So that's called a time shift for when the whole room changes and you enter. That's only happened twice in my lifetime. But I do, when I was with Kathy in New York, I did have a kind of a time shift of sorts because I could see this woman coming running up over the hill. She was a young woman with long hair, and she was tucking the skirts in her belt on her dress, and she had pantalones. She had underwear on, right, long legs, right? Long leg pantaloons on, and she was tucking the dress in the her belt or her belt of her dress, and she's running up the hill. Don't go! She could actually see Kathy and I could see her. Kathy, did you see her? Or did you just feel
No, I just knew she was there. I never can see anybody. I just know they're there.
Yeah. So I said, I see her. She's running. And she was running. And she was going to tell us a story that's related to Kathy's family. And she wanted to clear the air about how she was being mistreated because of that story. So it's very interesting. I don't know why that's coming up. So that was very interesting. So that's the only time, because I could actually see her coming up this field, and the field changed. It was like a plowed field with her in it coming up the hill. So that was a little bit of a, she couldn't change.
Whereas in real life, it was just overgrown grass because it was an abandoned field.
Yeah, an abandoned field. And I could clearly see it was a farmed land. And so it was kind of a time shift, and interesting, very, very interesting. So those are the only 3 times in my entire life that I've seen that kind of thing. So it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, I told you that happened sitting on my couch like a few months ago.
Oh, yeah, tell them about that, Jason.
Yeah, it was afternoon sitting on the couch, or on the couch rather, and it was just like a shift of energy, and all of a sudden I was in my house for like 10 years. Everything all the decor was about 10 years ago. Only lasted like 3 or 4 seconds, and then it shifted back and was. So.
Tell about your clocks.
Oh, I have issues with clocks and time. Every room, like it's coming up spring forward, so I always put a new battery in every time, just to be consistent. And every room, the time will shift. Like one room, it'll be an hour exactly fast. My bedroom would be a half hour slow, and I've switched clocks out to think it was the clock, and it same thing happened to a different clock in that room. So
Somebody's playing with you.
yeah, it's I think there's nothing bad. I don't have anything bad.
No, they just probably find it entertaining.
Oh yeah, and then let me.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to take over. Can I show that picture?
Two different planes in his house. That's what I thought. One was a half an hour shot behind the other.
So this is my security camera when I'm.
Yeah, you got a fast moving one.
That's Baxter, I think.
The cat. Watch this. When it comes close to this, show him the one that when it comes close to the screen, and it looks like cat's feet and a tail. You see him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, we just played with this afternoon. I was like, "That's a cat. That's a cat. Feet and a tail."
Isn't that So
hysterical. That doesn't look like feet in a cat, but when you see it really fast, you can see the tail. Yeah, it's really amazing. I was laughing about that. What was the other thing I was going to say? So,
well, I'm going to do just real quick, just a little bit of a promo.
Have you been around negative people or in a negative environment? Frankie and Lord's Apothecary Cleanser Spray is a must. Just one spray to make the negativity go away. Available at marythemedium.com.
yeah, so you get some spray your house if you have entities. One of the stories from Salem, I'm going back to Salem again. My girlfriend, I had lots of girlfriends in college, and one of the girlfriends came to me one day and she goes, "My friend is being bothered. Her children are being bothered at night by this entity." And I said, "Well, just tell them to go and they'll leave." And they're like, no, they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. They keep coming back every night and scaring the kids. I said, "What does it do?" He said, "It turns the lights on, takes their blankets off, all this kind of stuff. Very scary stuff, especially for children." So I said, "Oh, okay. Are you? Yeah, I'll come. And I said, you think this guy is mean?" She goes, "Yeah, I think he's kind of mean." So I brought my Bible. That's when I started bringing my Bible. And I went over to the house and I talked to the woman and I said, "So what exactly is going on?" She told me that this entity was coming into the room, bumping on the kids' beds, taking their blankets off of them, sometimes removing their pillows like from underneath their head and then throwing the pillows on the floor. It was really totally amazing. So I said, "Okay." And I said, "Do you think the entity lives up here?" She goes, "I know where he's coming from. He's coming from the basement." I said, "How do you know that?" She goes, "Because all the cold air is down there." So I'm 21, don't know any different about cold air, warm air. I go down there, but I bring my Bible and say some things. And I just can't. I was like, as I get closer and further down the stairs, I'm getting more and more frightened. This guy is scaring me. So I go down there and I hear chains moving. And I'm like, "Are you still down here?" And he goes, "Yes, I'm still down here." And I'm like, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I'm the boy that lives in the basement." He didn't give me his name. He was really angry. And I said, what's wrong? And he goes, "They won't let me out of here." So I said, and he was long gone. The chains that I saw were laying on the ground. The door was not open. It was still locked. And so he said, "I'm locked in here. I can't get out. And I want to get out. I've been here a long time." And so I read some stuff in the Bible to him. And I said, you should be able to see a light. If you see a light, because we're in the basement, there's no lights down there. It's very dark. There's one light over in the corner, which I turned off. And I said, look at the light. Do you see the light? And he goes, yes. And I said, walk towards the light and you'll be freed of this cage. Because he was in a cage. And it was really graphic. It was very graphic. And he walked into the light and left. So we did that. And then I went back upstairs and I said, I need to have a history of this house. So she got the history of the house. They had had a Mongoloid child, and way back then, I don't know, probably the mid 1800s, Mongoloid children were not accepted at all. And it was a very bad thing. You didn't talk about them, and they weren't allowed to go out. So my assumption is that they chained him up and put him in the basement and kind of like forgot about him down there and just fed him and stuff like that. No interaction, no education, no nothing. And then either they died or he died down there. And he was very angry for being left alone so much. And so, but he was Mongoloid, and they wouldn't, back then, they weren't giving women abortions. That was just that was just terrible. People didn't do that. So, that was him, and he was left, but he was really angry, and I was afraid for myself and everybody in that house. They might do something very drastic to break out, but it just make matters worse for him and the family. So it was pretty intense down there, and I felt like I needed to take a shower after this because it was just like so.
Like that icky energy.
Yeah, I felt icky all over. So I went home and took a shower because it was bad. But
have you ever had one follow you or pop up at your house?
I've had.
Tell them about the one that got in your car when you were leaving my house.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I've had 2 people follow me. That's a good one. I went down to see Kathy. She doesn't live in my neighborhood. She lives south of me. And I went down to visit her. I hadn't seen her in a long time. And so I think
she was there. She was talking to the guy who comes and visits and stays in my house.
Right.
But this is a different guy.
Different guy. Her family has all these people that are with her. But I came down to see Kathy, and I got more than I bargained for. I got Kathy and a whole family. She had I didn't write down their names. You can tell them the names, Kathy.
Okay, there are 3 brothers, the McGregors. Stephen, who comes and hangs out to watch the people in the box when I have the TV on downstairs. He comes and sits and watches TV with me. And then he has 2 brothers, William and Colin. Colin is the oldest, and he fought in the Civil War, and he walks with a limp and a cane. And then the younger brother, William, he doesn't like to come to my house because he says he has nicer houses that he can go to. He doesn't need to come to mine. And but Stephen, when we first moved in, our dog was deathly afraid to go down in the basement. I mean, she would, like a cartoon, stop at the door and slide and turn around and run back upstairs. Like, you've watched dogs in a cartoon. And then over time, he told us he was the dog trainer at his farm. Their farm was next door to the farm that used to sit on this land, the Schertzer family. And the Schertzer families are buried in a cemetery, a family cemetery that's still here. So we were able to confirm everything that this guy was telling us. But he finally got my dog so that she would go over and sit at his feet. She could call my dog, which was a hunting dog. It was an American foxhound. And one time, which was the freakiest thing I've ever seen, was I watched her body move as he stroked her back.
Wow.
He was petting her.
And you could see
could see her body, how a dog's kind of, she shifted like somebody was petting her.
Wow.
But she became very, very good friends with him.
Yeah.
But the funny part was when Susan started talking to him the first time, he has a Scottish brogue, and he was trying to say he was telling her Schertzer, but it was, in a Scottish brogue, she couldn't tell what he was saying.
Yeah.
And finally, she kept trying to tell me what he was saying. And I finally said, "Are you kidding me? Is he saying Schertzer?" So then we went down to the graveyard and found a one with the name Schertzer on it.
Yeah. So Kathy typically does not tell me anything. She says, I got something you need to go see. And I said, should I put my ears on? Because that's what I usually say when I'm doing that. And she says, yes, put your ears on. So I came down into her bed, her family room downstairs, and I looked right in the corner. I said, you're talking about that guy? That guy in the corner? She goes, yeah, that's the guy that's scaring my dog half to death. I was like, oh my God. I said, well, he's still here. He hasn't left. And that was William, right? The first.
No, that's Stephen.
Stephen.
Stephen's the one that likes to watch the people in the box.
Yeah.
But he hasn't learned to turn the TV on. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah. So he is not an apparition. He is not a solid. He is just we sense that he's there. And he will
talk, and he will answer
questions. Talk back and forth. You can ask him questions, and he'll answer those questions. And he's very nice, been very nice to me. And I told Kathy, I said, he's not going to hurt you. He's just interested in the box, what you can see on the box. So
no, and when my daughter was living with us, some spirit woke her up in her room. I think it was William. She was a 20-something, pretty young girl. I think he finally decided that there was something at my house he was willing to hang around for.
Yeah. So let's see, what else?
Oh, tell him about the guy who jumped in the car. So when you were leaving after all of this.
Okay, yeah. So I was leaving after this incredible weekend with Kathy and all this entities and talking and confirming everything that we had talked about and that sort of thing. She was spot on, I was spot on, and talking to them. They were not lying to us, which we like to verify that the spirits that we're talking to are really the spirits that we think they are, not someone else, So we confirmed all that information. So driving away from her house, waving goodbye to her, going down the hill. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, are you in the car with me? And there was like, yep, deep, yep. He goes, where are you going in this box with wheels? He goes, what is it?
But it wasn't Stephen. It was a non-Scottish guy.
A non-Scottish guy. I'm like, where are you going with this box on wheels? I'm like, this is the car, and I'm going home, and you cannot come with me. Because if I go home,
get out.
You will come home with me, and you really belong down here with your family. He's like, what? And he goes, well, I'm not getting out. I'm going for a ride with you. And I'm like, no, you're not. So I pulled over and stopped, and I got out of the car and opened up the back door of my car, and I said, get out now. I said, if I go, or if you want to get out later, I said, I'll have to drop you in a place you do not know how to get back here from. And that was like, ooh, he kind of like, oh yeah.
Oh no, you did that to him up here. You drove back up here and dropped him back.
No, I stopped around the corner. I went down your hill, and there's a building, and there was kind of almost like a peninsula. And I rode around the peninsula twice, and then I said, get out.
Oh, that's the office building out there.
Yeah, that's the office building. So I let him off there, and I said, you're not coming home with me. I'm not taking you home because you won't be able to get back because I don't know if he knows what's happened there. So
yeah, he doesn't have Google Maps.
Huh?
He doesn't have Google Maps on his phone.
Oh gosh. So let's see. In wrapping up, I don't know what time it is. What time is it?
We've got about 6 minutes left.
6 minutes. Okay. I can talk about the other thing that I brought home with me. I went to see the Queens of Egypt in downtown Washington, and I met the grandmother of Nefertiti, and her name is Mott, M-U-T, Mott. And I looked at her statue. She had a beautiful statue. And I was like, oh, hi, how are you? And I really just said it out loud because she was really pretty, And she said, I'm fine. And you? And I was like, what? Because this woman has been dead for a really long time, She's 3,000 or 4,000 years. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
In English?
I'm sorry?
She speaks English?
Yeah, she spoke English. So I was like, so we had a conversation, and I said, well, I'm going to go visit different people here, and who are you related to? And she says, well, read the sign. I'm related to Nefertiti. I'm like, Nefertiti? Because I have a picture of Nefertiti. I have two pictures of Nefertiti and her mother. No, one of her and one of her Nefertiti's mother in my bathroom. because they're beautiful. They have beautiful headdresses on and all this kind of stuff. And I said, I've always been attracted to your mother and your granddaughter. I mean, your granddaughter and your daughter and your granddaughter. She goes, you know them? I'm like, no, I don't know them. But I said, I have a picture of them. She goes, how do you get a picture? And I said, well, you take a picture of the camera. And I said, these people took a picture of the camera. That's the easiest way to explain it. But I thought she left. She didn't leave. She came home with me to this house, and she was here for about 3 weeks. And she'd go on a trip and come back and tell me, what is that long thing with a really long, it has black wheels and it's very, very long. And it has a big thing in the front that pulls it. And she goes, it's not a wagon, it's not a chariot, and I don't see any horses. And I said, it's a really long thing. It's kind of like a long box. She's a long box. It's a tractor trailer. She described perfectly what a tractor trailer was. I said, that's a tractor trailer. It carries goods inside, like perfume and refrigerators and, anything you would want to buy at a store. And she goes, store? And I said, yeah, like a market, open market or a farm market. I said, these people you'd bring it by horse and cart. These people would bring it by truck. She was like fascinated with all that stuff. And every time she would go, she would come back with a different story about something. And she was here for quite some time. And then the whole display of the queens of Egypt was going to leave the Washington metropolitan area. And I was like, no, you got to be on that train. So I told her to go with my husband, unbeknownst to him. I said, go with this guy here. He's going to go. He was working in Washington at the time. I said, just sit in the back seat. Don't say anything to him. And I said, just get in the back seat. And when you see, because he was going by close to where she was, I said, you follow the signs where you see your granddaughter and your daughter. I said, follow the signs and you'll find the museum. She said, okay. What's a museum? I had to explain what the museum was. So anyway, she goes, am I in the afterlife? And I said, yes. I didn't know how to explain it to her. I'm like, yes, you're in the afterlife. And she was.
Well, you're dead.
That would have been really rude. She would have probably slapped me across the face. But she was like, I'm in the afterlife. She goes, I was so happy I made it. I'll have to tell others that they made it, that I made it. So
was she attached to her statue at the museum or the exhibit?
She had her head. It was just on the top
bust.
Of her head. It was the bust. Thank you. It was the bust. But Nefertiti's esophagus was there, and a tomb of, I think, her daughter was there too. I don't think they had both bodies. I think they only had one body in the esophagus, which was very interesting. The whole display was really incredible. So I brought him almost home. I kicked him out. Didn't kick her out, just sent her in another car to get back to Washington. But it's been an interesting, this is an interesting life and an interesting stuff that I do on the side. And I've helped a lot of people, and that's been very fortunate for me and fortunate for them. But I really love doing this. So it's been very helpful for Kathy and her family. And
I work for the Historical Society in my hometown. So I get Susan to help me confirm things. And it's weird because the people in town don't know how I'm confirming the information. I'm actually talking to the dead people to confirm things about them through Susan.
And you can't really say that.
Then I go and find more data to support what I've been told by a dead spirit through Susan. So it's very interesting to do historical research when you talk to the subjects that you're researching. And they do, like we start talking about them at my sister's house and they'll show up. Remember when we were sitting there and J.E. Armstrong and Bill Lippert different times showed up in the dining room because we were talking about them, talking about the stories related to them. And I'd have to say, it's okay. You don't have to. I know what the real story is. You don't have to come back and tell us what the real story is. I know what the real story is. I got it. I know it's not what everybody in town thinks it is. I know what you told me. I know what's true. You don't have to come back and tell me anymore.
I know history, they really cooked the books on that.
There's a lot of lying going on. A lot of lying going on. Well, thanks.
Hopefully soon Susan will be able to come up and we have a whole bunch more people to talk to.
That's right. Yeah, we have to do some more exploring.
We're going to have to do a conference and have them all come into the museum and sit in a room and we interview them all.
We'll have to do a seance in there or something.
Send out a psychic invitation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll be able to, so I'll just say it and we'll tell the ones that we do talk to, tell them to go get everybody else that lived in Greenwood with them and meet here. Come on back.
Come on back.
Come on
We're
back.
having a party.
You and you, you know. We know who the parties are, which is really interesting because of her research and my research. It's really interesting. So it's very interesting. But we're going to bid our goodbyes to everyone. Mary, you get better. You stop hanging around hospitals. I told you not to do that. Do not copy me. You rotten kid. She's rotten. Yeah, she's rotten. But we love you, Mary. You get better. And thanks, Kathy, for joining in and sharing the knowledge that you have. She's very knowledgeable, and she's my sidekick, and also my adventurer. She'll go to invite me to an insane asylum and not leave me there.
Oh man,
she's a really good friend, you know. Anyway, but thanks, Kathy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
And
I'm gonna just play this real quick.
Show.
You gotta let's see. Do that.
You will love Italian street bread. It's a good. Go to italianstreetbread.com and order use some today. Capiche?
What's vision light? Joyce is talking about vision light. Do you know anything about vision light?
In the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting a delay, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Do you hear a delay?
No.
Okay. It's on my end. I have to adjust the. Okay.
When Mary, Jason, and I get together, Kathy, it's crazy. We just have so many technical problems.
Well, at least you're moving, and like you were. Susan was frozen, like in the corner for the whole show.
Me?
And then right after, didn't it? Right after we went offline,
But okay, I'm done. I'm going in the other room. So anyway, thank you for that. All right, are we still live?
we are. I'm gonna say thanks everyone for showing up. And Mary, just you know, Mary's not feeling well, so send Mary some positive energy. Like hopefully she gets better.
Away.
Love, yes. So we will say good night and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah.
Bye, Kathy. I hope to see you soon.
One more.
You look great, by the way.
Don't do anything yet until hold on. Okay. Bye, everyone.